das ist das erste, das ist das da in Deutsch. Und das hier ist all there is in Deutsch. Nein,
Yes, because it's very windy. But this is open, so maybe.
Achso, 7 Pfund. Sehr schön. Dann machen wir es.
Ja.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Ja, dann ist mir dann. Achso, ihr habt jetzt auch schon. Nee, 20. Ach so.
Praying is just saying words to the nothingness.
Well, it depends. Me would pray to something else or something.
For me, praying is not wishing. It's more like a trigger to connect with being, with melting to the infinite. That sounds pretty teaching words, but praying is like a trigger, or like being here is a trigger to melt away. So before also is praying, or can you say something about praying? Is it just
apparently you're praying, but what you're describing isn't needed.
Yeah.
But there wouldn't be any reason why you would stop doing it. I mean, there's nothing that can pray or not pray. If praying happens, that's what is. But there is no trigger.
Yeah. But
There's
coming
no
here
door,
is like,
there's no key.
Yeah, I somehow know, but it's like in.
So praying happens.
Yeah.
Like meditation happens,
Yeah.
you know. Meditation and other things happen. But the problem, the difficulty is when me then gets hold of the idea of meditating as a path somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that, but there isn't anywhere else to go to. But nevertheless, there are, when the me is no more, meditation can still go on. But it's completely without any purpose. In the end, of course, it's all meditation.
But I still, of course, get lost in daily life and living is me.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, the remembering and
Yeah. But you can't not do that or do it. It's what happens. And there isn't anything that's right. You know, you can't get this right or wrong because there is only what is happening.
So, can thought create positive stuff or negative stuff?
Well, that's an idea in the story. In the story, there seems to be a positive and a negative. There seem to be two opposites because in the story, the subject-object, it's a dualistic, artificial dualistic reality. And in the artificial dualistic reality, there seems to be positive and negative. And then the idea is developed that you could think positively and change the way you live.
Right. So thought can't make something positive or negative.
Thought doesn't make anything. Nothing makes anything. Everything that apparently arises is nothing arising.
But there's some people with very negative thoughts.
Yeah.
And it creates negativity around
It seems to.
It seems to.
But there's nothing that can be done about that. That's what is. In the story, there is something called intention. In the whole, there is no intention. But the whole can appear to be something that has intention to move forward into a positive story. That's an illusion. That's a fantasy called me. And what comes out of that is never in the end satisfying, because even if it seems as though there's something positive happening, it isn't what is. It's just there's still separation. So the me is never satisfied. Ultimately, the me can never make its life work, because it's happening in unconditional love. And unconditional love is beyond the idea of someone's life work.
So when you get emotions, you're not going in the story, I suppose. There is no, just I ask about so-called your life.
Yeah.
You get emotions and there is no story about it. Or are you still getting these thoughts or, this stupid idiot, and or you blame somebody, you can't blame him.
Yeah, that happens. And also an apparent story can arise through thought, and emotions can arise, but they don't arise anywhere. There's no locality anymore. But a story can arise, and stories seem to happen in the whole. But now, of course, the story has no power.
So you still live these stories, but of course, knowing this is only a story.
Well, I don't live them. They are what happens.
Yeah.
But they
happen.
They now have nothing to overpower. All of a sudden there's a me. The me can be overpowered by its story. A thought arises, and it finds a me, and then it speaks to the me, and there's a circle of energy that's formed.
So you still
when
have
there's
me coming.
When thoughts arise and there's no me, it falls back into the nothing because there's no one to speak to. But nevertheless, in the whole, stories still apparently happen, but they no longer have any power because they have no meaning.
And it's that they don't get big anymore. Oh my God, they know like.
So they can be big or small, but they're meaningless. Yeah.
Because you don't get a feeling of being trapped in emotion in the story. Because there's no
I can't get a feeling of being trapped because there isn't anything here. There's only what is. There's only everything. And in that, anything can arise. But it doesn't arise locally anymore or anything. There is no centre that it can attach to anymore.
But it happens.
What though?
Stories.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Sorry again.
No, it's fine.
So when you're in a story, I mean you are not, I know, but there is a story, there also can be judgment happening.
Well, in a sense, there's a very practical judgment about something, and then there's an emotional judgment about something. I think I have to say that when there's no me any longer, there's no emotional judgment. Because everything is just what it is. In that sort of... A lot of emotional judgment, as far as me is concerned, is a way of of somehow bringing a sense of a value here as against what's being judged. It's like a way of judging somebody else is a way of feeling better about me here. That wouldn't happen because there isn't any me to feel wonderful better. But ordinary judgment happens about marmalade.
Oh yeah, I like it. And another question about like protection.
Perfection.
Protection.
Oh, protection.
Of energies. I know there is no separation, so I don't really know, but I hear it's like that. So you don't put up walls, so
actually,
the energy doesn't come in.
No, there isn't anything here that does anything. There's no doing, because there isn't anything. So there's nothing here that chooses or does anything. It's just all that's left is what's happening.
There is no good or bad, so there is no protection.
Well, there is no good or bad, really. There just is what is. So there's nothing here that would think it has to protect itself against something, some energy. It's complete openness.
So even if there is fear, there doesn't feel like protection.
No, invariably not. I mean, in certain circumstances, there's an instinctive self-protection that is in the body, and neurologically, walking across the road in the car. but basically, there isn't something here. There's complete openness.
It's not a program of protection.
No.
Yeah.
So you find a guy chatting up your wife.
Oh, I hit him.
I've seen you offer him choice of weapons.
Tony, can I ask you a question? I have got the courage to speak in front of everyone. I noticed that when I'm in one of your things, technical term, that there is nothing required of me whatsoever. And that's actually really difficult. There are so many shoulds about behaviours, beliefs, what one must do, and there's been this constant trying to clear all those beliefs so that then there can be rest.
Oh.
And actually here there's nothing.
There's no demand.
And yet there's still this contraction, still this, well, I've got to find something to hang myself on. There's no structure, there's no rules, there's no boundaries, there's nothing.
No.
And I think that's part of the distress. It's like,
the me wants something
absolutely
to hit against or...
Yeah. This in a way is everything it's looked for, and yet it's given it, and that's not okay. Because
absolutely.
What it actually wants is something different.
That's what's powerful about that's one powerful thing about all this. That's one of the things about this sort of thing. There's absolutely no expectation because there's no recognition of there being anyone here. Yeah. That's amazing for me. What do you mean I'm not here?
I know.
It's like I always remember getting an email from an American woman who said, "How dare you offer me so much freedom?"
Yeah.
No, although I wasn't offering it, but there's a recognition that it's so free and without anything that the me feels uncomfortable in it.
There's no way of being important if there's nothing.
No.
And I just have to be really honest. It's like, actually, I've always tried to be important. I thought I was important.
Yeah, I did.
And then you tell me I'm not important, and in fact I don't even exist.
No. And you pay good money for it.
And I did. And I came back again, which is even more exciting. Thank you.
No, thank you.
I can say that instead of laughter, there is emotions and tears are flowing. It feels like the system is kind of breaking down, kind of collapsing, kind of cracking. This is feeling of cracking all day, shaking, and it's like just doing this only by itself. The rest of this nothingness I cannot appreciate in a way, or whatever. It's what it is.
No. If you appreciated what it is, you'd be apart from it.
Yeah.
All there is what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this. This is all there is.
Yeah.
Constantly only that. It's the perfect lover. It never leaves. It's this already. It's the only thing there is.
It's everything there is. Perfect lover, everything there is. I don't try to understand now.
No.
Just a little bit also, when there is this, it hits me again, this feeling, now I don't care, nothing to care anymore. And this is, maybe my conditioning is different, and so it's like a little bit disappointment about not to care, and maybe not being allowed this feeling, this attitude, this...
But who would disallow it?
Yeah, who would have allow or not an attitude, yeah. So it's probably a frame of emotion, because the system kind of tired, whatever, of trying to keep it together. Whatever.
There's nothing to keep together.
Pardon me?
There's nothing to keep together.
Yes, there's nothing to keep together. I just don't feel like laughing this moment anymore.
So, also all this is just a dream.
Well, this is just what it is. The dream is that you're in it.
Yeah, but
The
all there is,
me is the dreamer.
yeah.
That thinks this that's happening is happening to it. That's the only dream. This is just what it is.
But this, well, just what it is also just a dream.
Well, if you want it to be, if that's what's happening there, then that's what's happening. As far as this is concerned, this isn't a dream, it just is what is. Making it a dream sounds as though it's only not real, whereas actually it's real and unreal. But in my interpretation of the word dream, the only dream there is the illusion of me. It's an hypnotic dream.
But how do we know that this what is not also a dream?
We don't. There's nothing to know. There's just a response to the question.
So, did we create the universe?
No, there's no universe. There's no creation. All there is what is, which is the time of the infinite. There's no creation. There's only nothing appearing to be a creation. Does that help?
It leaves me speechless.
Oh,